Hi, and welcome to another special fan requested episode of Talk Bloody to Me. I'm Matt,
And I'm Brizzy.
and today we're talking about two movies in the same series. We're going to be talking about Smile and Smile 2. Do you do you see people smiling at you? If you're watching the video, Smile is a movie with a lot of face.
Big huge grin.
Yeah. Uh, this was the first time I've seen either of these movies. How about you?
This ain't the first time I've seen these two.
Oh, well, this ain't your first rodeo.
No, this will be my second time actually.
Okay. And so Smile is about some sort of supernatural entity, demon, ghost. They don't really explain it ever. They just call it an entity. And basically it's feeds on trauma and it uh the whole premise of the movie is that basically it kind of attaches to someone and then eventually takes them over and then they kill themselves in front of someone else in a horrible way, and then the person that sees it gets to, like the new host, the new infected one.
Mhm.
And so Smile One is starring I don't know if it's Susie or Sosie, but
I
Bacon.
think well, how it's pronounced, I think it's Susie.
I think so too. Susie Bacon. And do you know
Yeah.
who she's related to?
No. Oh, Kevin Bacon?
Yep, it's Kevin Bacon's daughter.
Oh no shit.
Yeah.
I didn't see the resemblance.
Yeah, I don't really either. Maybe
Oh.
if you but she kind of looks like she's both 35 and 14 at the same time. Like she's got kind of like a young appearance to her.
Yep.
But so she works in the psychiatric emergency room hospital something or another, and a patient comes to her and they say that her teacher killed himself with a hammer in front of the whole class. And oh, before that, you see some of the normal patient, not normal, but the average patients she deals with, and they're pretty messed up to begin with. So she's just kind of used to seeing people that are not quite well in the head and
Well, she
doing,
works in like the mental institute, so
yeah. So she
mental
just,
health unit.
exactly. So she just thinks this is just another patient, who's maybe having delusions, but this woman's talked about seeing something and seeing people smile at her. And all of a sudden she just goes nuts and what does she do again? She kills herself. Do you remember how, Breezy?
No, because I don't really pay attention to this one. I'm more so
Okay.
paying attention to the second one because I'm more liking the second one than the first.
Definitely. I
Because
agree with,
it was just like a little dry.
yeah, I feel the exact same way. The first one is the character is Rose Cotter. The patient breaks uh like a vase and then takes the shard
Oh
and like
yeah,
cuts
yeah, and
cuts
she
her
just
neck
like
of,
does like
yeah, as she's
I
smiling, the big crazy smile.
well, she was like halfway, like not
Yeah,
really all the way.
right. Enough to kill
Like
her.
they could have fucking did it all the way. I mean, just might as well just finish it off.
Exactly. So Rose is traumatized by that. Her boss, who is Kumar, goes to White Castle. Calvin. You ever seen Harold and Kumar go to White
Yeah,
Castle?
long time ago, but yeah.
Yeah, so that's her boss, and they're like, "Oh, we're worried about you," and take some time off. And then her fiance, and she keeps seeing like visions of the girl smiling at her, and then it's not there, and then it's like, is it real or is it fake? And this movie does a lot of there's a lot of tension, there's a lot of like slow burn, I call it, where it's just like, oh, you're just kind of waiting and waiting and waiting for something to
Mhm.
happen, but you know something's going to happen, so you're getting all tense, and then all of a sudden there's a jump scare or something and you're like, "Wah!" And then it's like, okay. But
Well, they do have really good there's some parts of the movie that there's a really good jump scares in the movie. I do
mhm.
give them that.
Is there one that sticks out in your memory?
No, not really. No.
the the one that sticks out in my mind is she's watching the recording of the patient when the patient killed herself, and she's listening to the audio, and like she's like, the patient's like, get away from me, and then there's like a little like kind of almost like hissing or like shh,
Oh,
and and so then she's like slowing it down and she's churning it up and she's like churning it up and she's like rewinding it and she's churning it up and then she's turning it up and then she like all of a sudden the thing's like right in her ear like whoa it's like yells in her ear and it's like that one got me. I jumped on that one. I'll be
yeah,
honest.
but that seems like preparing you for it. How is that a
Really?
jump scare?
I don't
Well,
know.
to me,
I didn't
anyways.
see it coming. It got me. I was waiting for there to be some cryptic, mysterious clue. So I was like just like her. I was like all leaning in, trying to listen, trying to figure out what it's saying, and I'm like, it's just whispering. It's just some kind of hiss. That's not saying anything. All of a sudden it's like,
That'd be a wake up call.
yeah, exactly. Um, and there's a lot of she has past trauma. Her mom had mental illness, and a lot of spoilers because we got to basically spoil this movie to talk about Smile 2. But she her mom tried to overdose and then asked her to call when she was a little girl. There's a flashback via the Smile entity. Told her to call for help, and she couldn't do it because she was too scared and panicked, and maybe didn't even want to. So she's been living with the guilt of like she maybe could have saved her mom's life but didn't. And so I think that's what makes her especially tasty to the Smile creature. But so they kind of find out they're doing some investigations. Her ex-husband or ex-boyfriend's a cop, and they figure out that oh, this person killed himself, then this person that was a witness killed himself, then this person who was a witness killed himself, and so on and so on. And the one that didn't kill himself basically killed someone else and made him watch. And so she goes to prison to talk to that guy. He basically has a big spaz attack, says, "Get the hell out of here." And so he tells her that it feeds on trauma. So where does she go? The place where the most traumatic thing in her entire life happens is the house where her mom killed herself. And supposedly she's doing it to so that there's no people around to like starve the thing. But why bring it to the most horrifying, traumatic place when you're told the thing feeds on trauma? It's just stupid. But
Yeah, yeah. Why would you do that?
exactly. If you got the smile entity attached to you, you need to go like someplace chill. Like you need to sit in a hot tub, just relax, maybe smoke a blunt.
Yeah.
Just no worries, just no trauma, just peace.
Yep.
And it's like, well, this fucking sucks. I'm out of here. I'm gonna go possess someone else. That's how you defeat Smile. You learned it here on Talk Lady to
Yeah.
Me. Um, but eventually, and the big thing is that it causes hallucinations. You don't really know what's real. You don't really know what's fake. It makes people do stuff that they think they're fighting the monster, but really they're hurting someone else in real life or whatever, or they think they're doing this, but really they're doing that. Reminded me a little bit of what's the mirror one? I already forgot.
Oculus?
Oculus. Yeah, it reminded me
Yeah.
a little bit of Oculus in a way of how people are doing things, but then not actually knowing what they're doing and stuff. Um,
Yeah, kind of similar to that.
yeah.
Maybe to me, like a little piece of it reminds me of it, but not enough to like, oh my God, this reminds me of Insidious.
Oh yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. But some similar things. But eventually uh she ends up killing herself and her boyfriend sees it and is possessed with the new she burns herself, douses herself in gas and lights herself on fire right in front of him. And her boyfriend sees it. And that's how the movie ends. Love the ending. I love a
Well,
good
well,
gruesome,
at least that kills like the entity.
right? It's what
But
you'd think.
do you like how he no, actually no, that's the second one. Never mind.
But do I like what?
I was gonna say like on part two that entity like really
Oh
like
yeah.
yeah.
In
But we'll
this
get to there.
in this one, it like the person that it's in like opens their mouth like super wide and then the big head comes out and it's got like several different rows of teeth, like four or five different sets of teeth in its face.
Mm.
And then it goes down her throat, kind of like she's swallowing it whole, and then that's when they're finally possessed. I think it has to like soften them up first before it can fully possess them, or else it just like messing with them.
Who
Who
knows?
knows? They don't really explain, and that's
Yeah.
part of the
Movie?
sometimes it's better to not explain everything because it makes it more creepy and more scary if it's not totally explained, and that's one thing I like about this movie is that it does that. And also, it likes to show you things and not tell you things, and so you can kind of figure it out for yourself, kind of thing.
Yeah, make your mind wander.
Exactly. So, any final thoughts on Smile 1?
No, it's just really, really dry and kind of dragged out in some parts.
It's a little slow, I agree. What would you rate Smile 1 before we move on to Smile 2?
I would probably give this a 6.
Yeah, that sounds exactly what I'm thinking. 6. Slightly above average. It has good moments, it has some good tension, it's got kind of a cool idea and a cool premise. Really gets slow at parts, gets a little repetitive at times, but hey, Smile.
Yep.
But
Smile.
but everyone I talk to that's seen both movies says Smile 2 is better, and I agree. So let's move
Yeah.
on to Smile 2. And Smile 2 picks up right where, well, 6 days after the first one, where the cop has he's sitting in his van, and then he sees a goon walking up to the like crack house, so he puts his gun in the back and says, "Go in." And like I was talking about before, how the movie shows you things and doesn't tell you, you can figure out that because he's a cop, he knows these guys are like some crazy criminals, and so he's gonna kill the one in front of the other one so that the smile thing goes into the other one, and then he's free, and the only person that gets hurt is a crazy criminal who probably deserves it anyway. But it doesn't go exactly according to plan. The plan kind of goes south on him.
Hmm.
Because
I The only reason why I like this one is because that the anger off with the Smile one is a little bit dry, and the celebrity, I forgot her name. She was in one of the Marvel movies.
it's Naomi Scott is the actress. She plays Sky Riley,
Yep.
and yeah, she's been in other stuff. Um, I think she was
She
in a Power Rangers movie.
Oh, that one. Okay, I thought, of course, one she was in one of the Marvel movies,
Yeah.
but she actually played really well in this movie,
Yeah.
and the vibe too. And she really gives off, well, to me, anyways, she gives off that Lady Gaga vibes.
Yeah. Definitely channeling some Lady Gaga energy with her because she's a pop star
Yep,
and um and so she's got that whole vibe. I guess she was also Jasmine in the live action Aladdin, which I never saw. But
I have. I
oh
just
yeah.
didn't notice. I didn't put two and two together.
Yeah, but she's got great big eyes. She's got a really expressive face. So for a movie that does a lot with smiles and close-ups of faces, she's a good casting choice. Um, but through convoluted series of events, the cop stabs the one criminal. The other criminal pulls a gun, shoots him in the leg and the shoulder. He shoots back. Oh, he accidentally killed them both. Now there's no one for the smile entity to go into. He blew it. Oh, what's this? It's Lewis. Some doofus douche was in the background the whole time, saw it all. He didn't realize. He's like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't mean to do this to you. I'm so sorry." And then he's like, "Well, too bad. I gotta go. I'm shot." And then he goes out the door, and there's a van of like four more criminals are pulling in, and one goes, "Who the fuck is that?" And he's like, "Oh shit." And he goes back in, and he makes a hasty escape out the window, and he's running away, and they're shooting at him, and he's running like a madman out into the middle of the road, and truck.
Just splat. Well, it didn't really splat, but
There's
run
a
over.
yeah, and then they show a great big streak of blood and his foot, which is ripped off, and then like it curves, and then it hits the tree, and you can see the truck is all smashed in, and there's like sparks, like it's gonna. So the driver's probably dead too. So
Yeah.
carnage everywhere. This is like when we interviewed Keith last week, we were talking about best intros to a horror movie, and I thought this was a really good intro. This right
Yeah.
here, because
Yeah. Definitely.
it goes right to 11 right at the very beginning with all kinds of craziness and chaos and goes off the rails. So then that's the intro, and then you cut to our hero Sky. She's a pop star, Lady Gaga esque, um, and she had been in a horrible accident where her boyfriend was killed, and she has a big scar down the front of her belly from it. And she was doing drugs and alcohol, but now she's rehabbed and she's better than ever. She's gonna go on a tour. It's the comeback tour, so everyone's excited, and she's rehearsing her dance. She goes hurts her back, goes to her drug dealing friend to get some Vicodin, who just happens to be Lewis, who witnessed the whole carnage scene at the beginning and is now possessed
Hmm.
by the smile entity. And he's like, I'm having a really bad week. I got some freaky shit happening, like talking supernatural, freaky shit. And then he also lays on the ground, and you can tell because you watched the first movie and saw the thing go down the woman's throat. You can tell what's happening even though you don't see it because he's like and then
Yeah,
all of
like
a sudden,
choking. Yep.
yep. And then he stands up and has got the big smile on his face. And then Breezy, what does he do then?
I don't know.
It involves weights. It involves a
Oh
big round
yeah.
weight.
Oh, sorry. We were going all over the place.
I
So
know.
he was like taking that 15 pound like weight type dude, and he keeps doing this to his face, like shoving it over, I think like 3 times, and then he's like his face is starting to fall off.
Yeah, exactly.
That
Yeah,
is some good FX makeup right there.
yeah, it really was. It was like the big metal like disc that they, the weight plate that they put when
Yep.
they on the barbell, and he just smashes it against his face. And every time he takes it down and does it again, his face is a little bit more broken up and bashed in than the time before until finally the very last time, like a chunk just sort of peels off and falls off.
Yeah, it's like graphic. I was like, ooh.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
so
I like that.
yeah, this one seems more extreme than Smile One. Between that and between like the truck at the beginning and all the shooting and stuff, and it just seems like they kind of up the gore and carnage a little bit. Um, so
That's what I liked.
yeah, yeah, I like the actress better, and I like there's more carnage, so to speak. Um, so now she barfed all over the place. So now she's got the thing, and they always do these shots where it's like upside down and float, like kind of floating, and it's like, is that supposed to be like the point of view of the monster? It just likes to fly
I
upside down.
Yeah, I think that's the point of view of like the entity type deal.
That's what I thought. Kind of like the
Yep.
old Evil Dead going through the trees kind of
Yep.
thing. Similar kind of.
If you like have not like noticed on some of these like entity movies, they
Uh-huh.
do have that point of view
Yep.
in a good portion of these movies. Probably
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, it's a good way to show something that's like invisible or mysterious or not really there or whatever, but that it is there and that it's watching and it's moving and that kind of
Because
thing.
they did the same thing with in Insidious and The Conjuring too. So
Oh yeah, yeah. So so then she gets invited, like she basically starts acting crazier and crazier, and she gets invited to like a charity thing, and she the teleprompter breaks, and so she goes off on a tangent, and it's not very good. And then she sees the smile entity, but it's as her dead boyfriend, and he's smiling all crazy and walks up on stage. And then there's like the older woman that introduced her, like comes up to like be like, "Hey, honey, are you okay?" And she goes like that and knocks her flat off the stage and sends her flying.
hmm
And then
are
everyone's
you
like, "Oh my God."
is that the one where she's wearing that getting ready to oh no, I don't think it was that. That was the first scene when she was wearing that red dress, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's when I thought about Lady Gaga because she dressed like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And she had like the other like almost sort of butterfly looking
Yep.
outfit, and then but she was worried because she could see the scar through it. And there's lots of themes of dealing with addiction because she's supposed to be in recovery. And like with the first movie, the main character, her mom was mentally ill, and so everyone just sort of assumed she was crazy because it ran in the family. When she tried to tell people, "There's this thing following me, it's this horrible thing," they're like, "Ah, you're crazy." In this one, she has a history of addiction and using drugs and stuff, so everyone's like, "Oh, did you relapse? What's wrong with you?" So they kind of just assume that she's messed up on drugs, and they don't take it really seriously as far as there's like, but then how would you take it seriously?
Yeah.
There's a guy that contacts her and says that he's been following the trail of the smile thing, and then he's got this elaborate plan that they're gonna stop her heart rate and keep her dead like for 9 seconds or whatever, so that the thing gets starved and goes away. And then he's gonna give her CPR, bring her back to life. It's a good idea on paper. And so they go to a Pizza Hut, apparently. Shout out to Pizza Hut. But they,
Well, not Pizza Hut, but a pizza place.
yeah. And so they're gonna go in the freezer because oh, it's minutes. Like the human brain can go like 2 minutes without oxygen, but if they can bring her body temperature down where her heart rate slows down, then they can go without oxygen for 9 minutes. And so they want to starve the thing for as long as they can. So
Yeah.
then there's she's like laying in the bed, and then the smile thing's up on top of her, like looking down, and it's like dripping blood on her and stuff, and all of a sudden it just unhitches itself and whap, crashes into her, and they're rolling around and they're fighting, and then she has the big old syringe to inject it into her jugular because that's supposed to was that supposed to knock her out or wake her up?
Wake her up. No,
Wake her up.
I think it's like both. Actually, I think it's like knock her out
I
first.
think that's what was supposed to stop her heart. The
Yeah.
syringe was what was supposed to stop her heart. So they're fighting and there, and she finally gets the syringe and she sticks it in her neck and she's like, "There, take that. Now you're fucked." Ha ha ha. And the smile thing just laughs. She goes, "Oh, honey, this isn't real." And then like it goes back to like regular reality. So like was none of that real? Did that guy ever exist? Was that whole thing just a hallucination?
More likely, because I can't figure that scene out. It's like, okay, they're talking about it at the pizza place and they're making a plan, and then it
Yeah.
happens, and then it goes back to like, did that really happen? Or was she, well, then again, she was starting to get all fucked up. So, I mean, who knows if she was actually thinking it or if it's
hmm
actually real.
Right. And she meets the guy first one time and then goes back and talks to him the second time when they actually do the plan. So it's like, was he real the first time but not real the second time? Or was he real both times but somewhere along the way the smile thing got her and messed her up? Or was it never real ever? Was the whole thing just a hallucination?
Yeah.
That's part of the fun of the movie. You don't know. They don't tell
Yep.
you. So, um, and what else am I missing? What
The
else?
part where she's in that butterfly outfit
Uh-huh.
and she's at the mirror, that one I really like. When I
Or
first seen that, that kind of jump scared me on that scene.
remind me what happens.
So she was like getting ready and she was like starting to text like her friend,
Uh-huh.
but then she didn't text, she just discarded that and she looked at the mirror and then she had a phone call and then she looked up and then all of a sudden there's that entity and she was like doing this and it was like the
Oh
entity was
yeah, it was
moving.
it was behind her. Like
Yep.
you could just
And she
barely
was,
see it like behind you couldn't because it was just and when she'd move to the left it would move
yep.
so that
Mm-hmm.
she was kind of like blocking it the whole time, but you could just make out that it was behind her.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, boo! Jump
Yeah.
scare.
Yeah, that one really like when I first seen that, I'm like, whoa, shit.
That one didn't get me at all. I saw that coming a mile away. No, I'm just
Well,
kidding. I'm
I
just
kind of
messing with
did.
you.
I kind of did. I kind of didn't. I'm like, at the first when I see that, but no, I really like that scene.
I do too.
But that's not my favorite one. I
What's
have
your
a
favorite
favorite
one?
scene.
Tell me about your favorite scene.
I want to say like my favorite scene is when she gets up on that stage
Mm-hmm.
and everybody's cheering, and then this entity, no, well, entity, yes. So she is standing there getting ready to perform,
Mm-hmm.
and she looks out, and then there's an entity but dressing like her, but she's smiling really big.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden you see like this big huge thing coming out of her belly or chest. I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa. And then it like her body tends to like go cricket and this whole thing comes out and it's
Yeah.
like huge, and then all of a sudden like the entity like pretty much is this, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my.
Yeah, that's really awesome. That's basically spoiler alert, that's the ending of the movie. There is a part where she thinks she murders her mom horribly and like pulls her or her mom kills herself, she thinks. But then that was all in her head because her mom's in the crowd at the end. Um, but yeah, the comes on stage and where her scar was, it like basically pulls the scar open and then the smile thing comes out and it's huge. It's like it looks like and it's kind of like goes not really on all fours, but kind of like it's on its hands. Like it looks like it maybe could stand up if it wanted to, but it's like down on its all fours kind of.
I can see it's like standing.
Yeah.
It kind of
And
reminds me of Stranger Things in a way.
Oh yeah, I can see that. I can see. If you've ever like looked on YouTube and saw Trevor Henderson, he does like there's like art of like Siren Head. He just basically does creatures like Siren Head and different things. And a lot of his creatures have really long, stretched out limbs, and they're all big and gangly and weird. It reminds me of like one of his things, like all long. Its arms are all long and crazy, and and it's like it looks like it was skinned, like it looks like a bloody thing, like a person that was skinned, like it's all red and bloody
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
too. Is it's we should point that out too. And then it opens its mouth and it has like 7 rows of teeth or something.
Can you imagine like the FX and the multiple takes to make that scene?
Oh my gosh, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's really cool.
Yeah. It's trip if you're like high or really, really on something, that would trip you up probably.
Yeah, for sure. and
Uh,
then it's ready for the concert, and then she gets possessed. It pulls her mouth open like Breezy said, and like it just like basically rips it open. You actually see part of her jaw like break off and
yeah.
fall out, and then it goes into her, and then you don't see it, but you hear it, and then you see the aftermath. They show basically the crowd just starts screaming and yelling, and you hear like a wet smacking, crunching sound, and the entire crowd is horrified. And then they show her on the stage, and she basically mashed her microphone through her eyeball into her head. And that's the end of Smile 2. Yay! Happy ending. I
Yeah.
love that ending too.
Yeah. I do like I do like the music that comes with the this movie too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's kind of synthesizer music kind of
Yeah.
really adds to the atmosphere and the mood and everything. And now, if they want to make Smile 3, which I believe they will, anyone that was at that concert could potentially be the new host of the Smile entity. They could pick any random Yahoo and say, hey, they were at the concert and saw it. So,
I can definitely see that.
yeah. So, Smile 2, any final thoughts on Smile 2?
No, I just really, really love this one a
Mhm.
little bit more.
What would you rate this one?
This one, I would give this one probably like a 9.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'll give it an 8. Little lower, but definitely a improvement over the first one. I like the actress better, no offense to Kevin Bacon's daughter. I think the gore and the, for lack of a better word, the violence and everything is kind of amped up, and I just think it's a more interesting story too. So,
Well, that and the music too.
and the music, yes. Smile too. And
Smile.
there you have it. Thanks to the fan that requested Smile and Smile too. And we'll be back next week with another even crazier fan request, if you can believe it.
Yeah. And and yes, it's Easter and slash 420. So how about you take a guess on what it is?
Yep, exactly.
Not me or Matt, our fans. How about you guess what the episode is next week?
Exactly. Comment below. Take a guess at what could possibly be related to Easter and or 420
Or
and
both.
or both, exactly. And we gained some new subscribers. We got a lot of new views. We definitely appreciate it. So thanks so much for watching. And if you know anyone that's into horror movies, tell them about the podcast.
No, yeah, definitely.
And we love our fans. So thanks for listening.
Thank you.